Welcome. All right, welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon in Pacific time. And I know it's a little bit late in the UK, Elder Nganunu. I'm sure it's like 10 p.m. now.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is indeed. Yeah.
So thank you for the sacrifice already. All right, thank you, and welcome to our Fireside chat where we just talk. So it's unscripted. We're just going to talk, and the men are going to pose questions, share ideas. Iron sharpens iron, right? All right, so to get us started, we are going to start off with prayer, and I'm going to invite Elder Elisha Mvundura to check if you could open for us in prayer. Elder, would you be in a position to supplicate for us? Elder Mvundura, do you copy?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out how to get okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we want to just pause a moment and just thank you for the beautiful Sabbath. We want to thank you for the vision and bring us together as brothers in far away from our land of birth and in these foreign lands, just to be able to share with each other and to be able to help each other and to be able to grow with each other and to be able to bring each other closer to you as we talk and as we share ideas. I want to pray at the end of these meetings, may we have a closer walk with you, may we be closer to you, and above all things, may our families and our children, our wives, and the extended family be able to benefit from this discussion. But more so, Heavenly Father, I also want to pray that may these discussions lead us closer to you, and when you come to take us home from this weary land, we may be ready to meet you in the clouds. Not only us, but Heavenly Father, all those who desire to spend eternity with you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. And thank you, Elder Elisha Mvundura. Thank you for the opening prayer. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Elder Lovemore Nganunu, right? Dr. Lovemore Nganunu. Thank you for joining us. Now, for those that don't know Dr. Lovemore Nganunu, right, would you briefly introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, where you currently are resided, and what you do?
Okay, thanks very much for inviting me to this wonderful fire chat. In fact, I was hoping there would be a lot of fire around and we could be brewing some maize. Anyway, I'm privileged to be invited to this platform. So my name is Lovemore. I was born in Zhishamane. People call it Zhishamane Netara in the sort of Mashingo context. I come from quite a big family, but I was born there, and then I transitioned to Bulawayo as a sort of a grade 5-year-old, and then I spent my time in Bulawayo. So I can speak Shona and Debele. I'm the first boy in a family of 8, 5 boys and 3 girls. So I've got a firstborn character or syndrome where I'm a bit assertive in a group of people where inappropriately everybody becomes second-born to me when I mingle with people. But nonetheless, after finishing my education in Bulawayo, I then moved to Harare, where in Harare, I then met quite a few who are here, including Big Brother Elisha, Big Brother Brighton, Big Brother Kenan Due, and quite a lot of people who probably joined in. I then joined the Adventist family in 1990. And finished my university training, and then went to work in Plumtree Hospital. Then I went back to Parinya to Harare Hospital to finish my postgraduate training in pediatrics, after which I then left for United Kingdom. So I've been here for the past 18 years. I'm married with a son who is 16 years old. I'm married to a lovely woman. Her name is More Blessing. And my name is Lovemore. Her name is More Blessing. So you can guess the pitch at courtship was the common word more. She's More Blessing and I'm Lovemore. So I remember in the back of the church in the afternoon program, I just wrote the word love more blessing, and I put the word more in common. And I said, we have much more in common here. I think we need to transition further. So that resulted in marriage, and we now have and that's in summary. I'm working here in the United Kingdom. I'm a consultant pediatrician in one of the trusts, and I'm a lay preacher, and I just enjoy the word of God. So, yep, that's in brief. I think people can probe me more on my social CV, academic CV, spiritual CV, and other aspects of my CV. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds good. And 18 years in the UK, we can we get the accent now already that it has shifted a little bit. I think we should revoke that Zimbabwean card now.
People call it fake accent here because sometimes you're just trying to be heard, and you drop some emphasis on some words because your patients keep saying, pardon, pardon. And then you realize you cannot be using certain emphasis on the way you pronounce your words, and you start slightly, smoothing some edges. But then to my mother, it sounds very funny. You're speaking in a funny way. So there you go.
All right. So with that, I am going to transition perhaps to even something that most men who are live right now and some who watch the recording that we've had to deal with, and we still perhaps deal with, is the transition, right? So coming to the UK, and you are settling in a new territory, right? You're raising kids in a new territory, right? You have a wife in a new and different culture. Can you speak a little bit to that about how your transition has been? And what were some of the difficult things and some of the fundamental lessons that you perhaps have learned?
I have a feeling Elder Brighton is probably very smiley, because Elder Brighton recorded a 14-minute clip that went viral a few years ago. But anyway, I remember coming to America to the men's meeting in California, and I shared a bit, and I'm happy to share it again. So basically, my wife came first. Like all men, we send our wives first. Am I the only one? Well, I'm the only one. So my wife came first, and then I came after a year. And when I landed at the airport, I didn't know how much of my professional training I've lost. So I landed as a consultant from Zimbabwe. But the moment you land, your consultant training in Zimbabwe drops because it doesn't count here. So, and then I realized I have to transition in terms of registration as a doctor here. And then that will take you a year, if not more. And then in that transition period, you kind of find yourself no longer the man provider as you thought. And suddenly you realize, okay, I'm here. Yeah, but all I'm doing is watching TV, Sky Sports, fiddling channels, and then my wife goes to work in the morning. She comes back at night. I have to do the dishwashing, all the domestic work where you thought when you're in Zimbabwe, that's not me. And then you're doing that stuff.
Yeah. How did that make you feel as a man?
Well, I have to be honest. Zimbabwe doesn't groom us for this type of sharing the home with your wife. Zimbabwe grooms us. I'm just going to be honest with you. It grooms us to define, man as a provider. You don't do that stuff. That's what we are normally taught. But when you come here, you have to change nappies. You got to take time shifts. She will be at work. You'll be the one at home. You have to do the dishes. You have to know how to operate the Hoover. You have to know how to clean. So I went through that phase, and there's this man inside me who thinks I have lowered myself. And then to make it worse, Gilbert, your friends, like I said last time, your friends call you doctor, okay? The first 2 months. Then they realize you're not a doctor anymore. You're not doing the job you were doing.
Then it goes to Lovemore.
Then it goes to Lovemore. No, in fact, they call you Nganunu. When they call you Nganunu, it's still good. And then when they call you Lovemore, then you know you're done. So the doctor is dropped, and then they'll start telling you, but UK is good. And then they use a Shona phrase and they say, UK ndimayenzanis. Let me just translate that, which means UK levels the ground. And then you realize people don't realize how much you are inside. The inside of you is suffering because you got no skills to do any other job. So my first job which I got offered was to sell newspapers in a hospital. And then my second job was to pack letters. You kind of go to these big companies where you pack letters. Basically, you're packing letters. And somehow there's this inside man inside you, which is like, I didn't train for this. And you're screaming inside, hear me out, guys. I didn't train for this. And I realized, the story of Joseph, my favorite story, is that Joseph graduated. He got a graduation gown. And after getting a graduation gown, God said, okay, I'm going to train you. Pete, Potiphar, prison, and then Pharaoh's compound. What a nice journey. But he got a graduation from his dad, a coat of many colors. But God says, I'm going to train you. The same thing he did to Moses. So, okay, you think you were in the palace, but I'm going to train you to be CEO to look after sheep. So I think I've had my humbling experience.
Your fair share. And if I were to probe that further, and maybe, I don't know if it will get too personal, but how did that impact your marriage or relationship at the point with your wife?
Okay, I think my wife realized that there's this big man inside me who is going to feel deflated when he can't provide. So what she used to do, she would say, today, here's the credit card, here's the debit card, go shopping, just do what you think you want to do. And just being given a debit card, a credit card, and you drive into town, you shop around, you sort of phone your friends, and she would sort of empower me with this confidence that even though I'm contributing zero to the bank account, I'm still valuable. She still loves me. That whole assurance then boosts you, because there's so many things which are affected if a man cannot provide. I mean, let's be honest with you. You can't send your mom anything, and you feel like, and people in Zimbabwe don't make it easy for you, because they will hear that, Lovemore is actually not working as a doctor. We hear he's doing, then they've got these phrases that he's doing RRB. There's nothing wrong with that. In the United Kingdom here, doing a security officer is a good job. I'm being honest. In this country, doing a security job is a good job. It's respectable. There are people who are very comfortable. Even doctors who come here, they do that job and they're comfortable. It makes you, when you're in the bus, nobody cares what you do. On your car, you can drive your car here in the United Kingdom. Nobody really cares what you do. Everybody has a certain balance of their lives. So, but it's this standard set by us in Zimbabwe sometimes, where I'm actually realizing, my friends I play squash with, we don't really care what job you do. We just love each other, enjoy each other. And somehow it just made me realize, some of the ego I carried. It's thank God for being Christians. It just humbles you and makes you, yes, our marriage was initially, I'm going to go deep now. Because of me not providing, it was me feeling very much insecure, vulnerable, unsure, uncertain, which my wife had to work on. Now, if my wife wanted to be nasty, she would have said, yeah, but she didn't. She repaired it by, boosting me up with, because I love cash, I love spending. She serves, I spend. She serves, I spend.
All right. And 18 years later, here we are. You have been stable. What is that phase that was difficult? What were the blessings that have now enriched the relationship, almost 20 years later?
So basically, in a very strange way, my wife and I decided to have one child, which is weird. Whenever I explain to people why it's one child, they will say, why one child, Lovemore? And then, my aunties, they keep saying, you're very lazy in a very, they imply a lot of things. Aunties are very, very particular. So yeah, we decided to have one child, and he's turning 16 years next week. And it's been a blessing because my wife took work away she didn't work full time for the past 16 years. She's been caring for him, just working twice a week. So we've had time for him.
Mm.
And then by not working full time, my wife and I have had time for each other.
Mm.
I'm the busier one because I work crazy shifts. Right now, you probably don't see it, but I'm at work right now. But nonetheless, what happens is because one of us is not very busy, it gets us to have some equilibrium between work-life balance.
Mm.
To be honest with you, because I came here and had to retrain as a consultant, that took me another 8 years. So if you really add your maths, 5 years medical school, 5 years M.Med pediatrics Zimbabwe, 8 years UK just to become a consultant. That's 18 years of university life just to become a consultant in the United Kingdom. So I've been the student one for a long time, but nonetheless, my wife and I supported each other. So we have achieved the academic side of things. And then the spiritual side, we have journeyed very, very interestingly. We came here, found all these websites which attacked Ellen White. Like, wow, really? Then we went through reflection of what is true, what is not true. We also went through reflection of the culture shock. Then we had to pick good aspects of the culture here and also dump some bad aspects of our own culture.
And do you have examples of what you'd deem, I would rephrase it as undesirable elements of our culture and desirable foreign elements? Would you have an example of that?
You are probing
I'm putting you on the spot here. The elders are probably supporting me in the background.
Saying, okay, put the on the spotlight. I'm trying to give you an example because I have to be careful here because culturally, certain things which I may believe are not necessary, may be sensitive. So I'll probably skip that one. I won't give you my details.
I'll give you a pass on that.
Yeah.
So whilst we are still on that, I want to perhaps ask one more thing and open up for questions from the floor. Now, one of the challenges that we struggle as men is parenting in a foreign land. You have a 16-year-old, and what have been some of the challenges or perhaps even strategies that you have seen that have kind of worked that we could bounce and share amongst the gentlemen here on the platform? Parenting in a foreign land.
Okay, I'll probably start with my failures. One thing I failed in my parenting here is that I didn't teach my son Shona on Ndebele. I'm seeing it as a bad side. So I think I failed there because when he's 16 now, he's asking me, Dad, I need to learn Shona. And I realized, so it's one of the areas I failed. So I want to encourage other people here, speak Shona or Ndebele in your houses. Make sure your children understand your language. Don't allow your child to say, oh, Dad, your people are on the phone. What do you mean your people? He's implying that people who speak your language are on the phone. So he says your people. Now he realizes, no, they're not your people. They are also his people. So it's one of those where I think I'm going to mention that first that I failed. So I think one other thing I want to mention is in the parenting, the child recognizes, can I just answer this?
Sure.
Just hold on. There's a knock on the door. Just hold on 2 seconds.
All right. And as Elder and Dr. Nganunu is attending to that, I'll invite you elders to get prepared with your thoughts and questions, so that we get to deliberate with our brothers. So feel free to either unmute yourself shortly once he's done finishing his train of thought. So feel free to unmute at any point, and feel free also to put it on the chat, whichever works best for you. So we'll let Elder Nganunu finish his thought, then I'll open up for all those thoughts and questions that I'm not seeing you, elders, but I'm sure they're simmering somewhere there. All right. Thank you,
Right.
Dr. Nganunu.
Yeah, sorry for that. So basically, I regret the language, which is learning now at 16, because I allowed him to have selective hearing. When they're at 4 or 5 years and they go to nursery, they start selectively wanting to hear English and avoid your own language. So if you miss it there and don't reinforce it, you may mix them for the older they get, they selectively want to gravitate towards English and lose your own language. So that's one thing I felt. But being here, I allowed my son to I don't know, I sent him to private school, so he's probably not, I always struggle because I always think when you send them to private school, you don't allow them to sort of feel the sort of natural educational flow here. But he being there, it's been great. He's found himself motivated by various schoolmates who prefer success, academic success, and he's found a good crowd. But nonetheless, they still meet the digital world, the Facebook, so the biggest challenge for me is monitoring that in a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. Sometimes you don't know what to do really. So you start managing screen time, and then they always know how to figure out a way around it. And then you manage, you watch the websites they follow. You want to sort of say this one is not good, this one is not. You try to manage that. It's a nightmare because they open YouTube channels and you don't even know them. You keep sneaking around. No, this is bad. Don't put your name on YouTube. And there they are doing all these things. So it's fun. I think what has made my son much more grounded is church. He's in the youth club at church. They've got all these activities which keeps him grounded. So I let him active at church. He's in the IT team, IT department. He's in the music team. By keeping him busy, the church becomes my solid ground also for him, as well as our family worship. And then the other program which I use for my son is called TLT, where they are being trained to be teen leaders. So it's a program that's very, very regimented with programs and targets, keeps him busy, makes him learn the sanctuary, various other subjects. So by so doing, I've used the church as well as the family and my wife full-time there. My wife is very like firm and stern. She's the bad cop, I'm the good cop. So we work together like that, yeah.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to open up and invite questions, and we'll start with Elder Zebron Ngube. I see his hand is raised. Go ahead, Elder Ngube.
Thank you, Brother Gilbert, for allowing me to jump into the poll first, to get the opportunity to talk to Dr. Nganunu. Hello, how are you?
Hello, my brother. It's good to see you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask again a personal question. How has this consultant doctor survived the context of COVID, just on a personal level?
Okay, so on a personal level, because I work in children.
And all that.
Sorry, Doc, I missed the last part, I think.
In terms of your stress levels, how have you handled that?
The past 18 months have been difficult, to be honest. But I think because I work in pediatrics, for some reason, COVID numbers in pediatrics are very low. In fact, I have admitted probably 2 children, strictly speaking, with COVID, with nasty COVID. Otherwise, the majority of patients who are children with COVID do very well. We have hardly seen the nasty side of it. So as a practitioner, I have to say I respect adult physicians. They have seen more because the disease has a case fatality rate which is higher in adults compared to children. Children isn't very quiet. On the other hand, we still have been exposed to COVID. So I got infected in January this year. And then I was off sick for a month. So this is where you're in a spare bedroom. Your wife is bringing you food and leaves it by the door side. Your son knows you got COVID. He's in the other bedroom. And when he sees you come out, because you've told him he shouldn't mingle with you because you're isolating at home, and you announce yourself like a person with leprosy. We read about people saying unclean with the leper. And then we don't realize when you got COVID in your own house, suddenly your wife is in the other bedroom, you are in the spare bedroom, you are in some kind of a jail of isolation, and you can't mingle with people for a certain period of time for 10 to 14 days. You are coughing, spluttering, you are breathless. To walk to the toilet, you feel breathless. To walk up the stairs, big amount of effort. And you're asking yourself, am I going to go over this cliff? Guess what happens? By grace of God,
Amen.
After 20 days, you're feeling better, but you've lost weight. You feel, the taste buds, the sense of smell, name it. You got proximal myopathy where you're walking and you it's one of those where you realize COVID sneaks, affects your lungs, and when you survive it, you just say, because you hear the story of doctors who've died, colleagues who've died, and guess what? And I'm not the most healthiest. I'm on the bigger side, and I'm trying to lose weight. So guys, let's do something to lose weight. Gilbert, you look great. You look great. You look great. I saw Pastor Dube. He looks great. I think we need to exercise because I was vitamin D deficient. I was on the obese side, and all those things do not help with COVID.
And
Thank you.
and let me actually maybe just probe a little bit on that. Did you at some point have any fear of like leaving the family, that if I leave this family, who's going to take care of my family if the worst occurs? I know we don't like to go there, but did that cross your mind, and how did that make you feel?
It did, actually. There's a certain sense of where when you feel very sick and you're breathless and your GP doesn't want to see you because he says, oh, what are your saturations? And you say 94%. Oh, you're fine, Lovemore, you're fine. But you're feeling breathless. And then every day you're watching your saturations when they're 91. You're like, okay, all right, where are we going now? And then you take deep breaths, and then they're 97. Like, oh, that's better. I think there's a certain sense of fear that this disease kills. I'm over 50 years, and the mortality rate is higher, not as high as the 70s, but nevertheless, you've seen people dying, and you are at risk of death. So you do feel about that, and then sometimes when you realize I haven't prepared my family for my absence, and I wish all of us could work hard, save money, pay off our bills, pay off our mortgages. Your family remains mortgage free, and with the stashes of money around, prepare for the inevitable by being business minded, invest. So I'm thinking outside the box. I don't want to work until I retire. I want to make sure I make money and then retire when I want to. I wish that formula could work for me, because I realized if I passed away, the amount of stuff I would have left my wife dealing with is a lot. But that thought, Gilbert, is a real thought. It comes, and I'm smiling here, but in January I wasn't smiling. I realized I could die. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Now we'll go to our next hand, and let's go to Elder Ronnie Macheme. Elder Ronnie, go ahead if you copy.
Copy, Gilbert, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nganunu. And I am from the marketing side of EMM, and we were excited to have you the other time when you came over. Are you coming to this one, 2021?
No, I don't. I think with this COVID, I'm just a little hesitant. COVID. I am still hesitant. I've been vaccinated. I know I can travel, but I'm just hesitant. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm still.
I guess we can all blame it on COVID these days. Hey, Gilbert, my question is, earlier you asked about the culture that you dropped and that some things that you picked. I don't know how you did put the question. If you have it, can you put it across?
Yeah, so I think the elder chose to take one of his free passes.
I wanted to answer myself. I wanted to answer it in a
Oh,
way that might be.
okay.
So I wanted to make sure I was quoting it the right way.
Sure, you were.
Okay. So I would say I think one of the cultures that we should drop or that impact us as men is the culture of keeping our surnames. Men from Zim, they want to be known of their surname and be called by their surnames, and it makes them feel like men. I remember one time my son came and says, "Daddy, do you mind if I call you Ronnie?" I looked at him and I said, what do you mean? What has changed? What are you trying to?
There was weeping and gnashing of teeth, I can imagine.
He goes to his colleagues, to his friends, and he sees his friends calling their dad with their first name. So I think as men, let's not hold that upon as if children are disrespecting us. And we are Christian. If you look at the Bible, we just know Moses. Moses who? It's just Moses, and it's still okay. And when we are called by our first names, we tend to really panic because we think we are being disrespected. So I think it's one of the cultures that we might just dump when we are here, and then pick the other side of your name being called by your name does not mean disrespect. So that's what I wanted to at least add.
All right, thank you, Elder.
Can I just add something, Gilbert? There.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This is a very powerful point because when I came here, when I started working with other consultants, they would say, "Oh, Lovemore, call me Tom." Or even when I was still training, some of the consultants would say, "Oh, call me Margaret." Now, in my Zimbabwean culture, you don't call your consultant by first name at all. You don't drink tea with them. They're like up there. So I used to struggle. And then when you go for interviews, in our Zimbabwean culture, you don't look someone who you respect in the eye.
Right.
You kind of look at your toes, look at your hands. But here, if you look at your hands, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have confidence. If you look at the roof, you have no confidence. You are lying. So you have to forego some of those, look at someone in the face and talk without flinching, confidence. So I had to be retrained and drop some of these things. This is a senior person. You don't look them in the eye. You look them in the eye and you say, I'm sorry to say this to you. I disagree with you. That's proper communication. I'm afraid I respect what you're saying, but because I'm in charge of this thing, I believe the right way forward is this way. Firm, assertive, respectful, but so you learn the leadership skills, and you say so none of this sort of compromising teddy bear lovable person. You still have to have some affirmative. So I dropped some of the stuff which I was practicing in Zimbabwe.
All right, very good. All right, I have two hands. So I saw Elder Kenny Mutlanga first. I'll let him go, then we'll come to you, Elder Stephen Mujere. So Elder Kenny Mutlanga, go ahead. Kenny Mutlanga, if you copy.
Yeah, I do copy. I wanted to say, to comment on the language thing and piggyback it with Mr. Macheme's comment. And what I want to say is, we as Zimbabweans, we lose our culture because we want to over-adopt if we see the Indians, the Filipinos, the Nigerians, the Ghanaians, their children born here, they speak their own language. And when they are home, they maintain their culture. It's an anathema to encourage each other to dump our culture and teach our children to call me Kenny, to call me Lovemore. Let's not encourage that. When we are home, let's uphold our culture. When they are with their friends, they can say, oh, my daddy is Kenny. But when they are home and when they are with me, and when we meet in public, they cannot call me Kenny. They must uphold our culture. We should not dump our culture and forget who we are. If we do that at our generation, first generation here, what more is it gonna be for our kids? They're going to be washed away. So as much as we have to teach our children our language, our language is a vehicle for culture. If we teach them our language, it's easier to teach them our culture. So let's not abandon our culture. Let's not try to be white people, please, please, I beg you.
All right, thank you, Elder Kenny. Elder Lovemore, do you want me to pass this hot potato to you?
I think we got to understand the implications of our children calling us by first name. There's a context to it. So I've discovered even some of the English people here don't encourage that. Some of their children, they call them dad. They don't call them by first name. So it's some things we think happens across other cultures. Actually, I realize some of the English people here do not do that. They really want to maintain that level of respect. If you call them dad and you call them Mr. So at the school where my son goes, they call each other Mr. Lovemore is here to see you. My son never calls me Lovemore. He calls me Dad. That's the title he uses. Dad, where are you? Dad, I need some help. So that's how we communicate. And my son is such that if I try to do something that's outside my usual behavior, he will say, Dad, I think you're trying to say you love me. I'm happy with the way you normally do it, without overdoing it. So there's a way you communicate. Elder Kenny, I hear you, but I think the point raised was some people will be comfortable with it with their children without necessarily having disrespect. So it's not necessarily a disrespect definition, but some people will find it offensive. So I kind of allow the fluidity between Gilbert doing his own thing with his family, Brother Elisha doing it. No, I don't think my brother Elisha would do that. I love Elisha. I know it very well.
You love more.
So in short, I think we all vary. When my son calls me Lovemore, he rarely does it. When he says it, he will say, "Oh, Dad, there's somebody looking for Lovemore." Then he winks at me, knowing that he doesn't usually do that. He just says, Dad, there's someone on the phone who's saying he wants to speak to Lovemore. Then he winks at me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Now I am going to move to Elder Stephen Muje. Elder, it's your chance. Yes, go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you. And thank you for spending time with us, Dr. Nganunu, and sharing your life with us. Some years ago, there is a statement that was said by one of the pastors here, Dr. Bilima. I think he made the statement that has stuck with me, that you have to be more than equal to be equal. If you are Black, at least in this country. And he said that statement alluding to the challenges that African American or Black people face in this country, that in order for you to be recognized or to be seen, you have to do more than what the local people do. And you have, it seems like you have had quite a successful journey where you are in the United Kingdom. I'm just curious to find out if those things are still available. Those things exist there in terms of racist, not being quite respected as someone of African origin.
Okay, that's a great question, Steven. Yes, I'm afraid when you cross borders to come to another country, you have to realize the competition is stiff. The competition for medical jobs is very stiff, and you got to be, if you're good, that's not good enough. You need to be more than equal, as you said it. So at interviews, I used to lose jobs because my interview skills were very poor. I'd get someone to retrain me and know how to say simple things and know how to give punch, how to maintain interest and how to speak. So I appreciate people who came here first, and I had to engage with them, and they trained me. Because I did 42 applications when I came to the United Kingdom. Only one of them was replied because the applications were, the CV was poorly done. It had no structure. It was completely nonsense. When someone saw my CV, says, "What is this?" What? So in the end, you kind of realize you need to know how to play the game in a way of, pitching yourself, do the courses that are required, find a way of selling yourself in terms of what does the job require, what are they looking for, and make sure you're better. You're better. Get the skills, experience that's required. So you're right. I always tell people when you come to the United Kingdom, you need to go for a course which is called How to Be Black. I mean, there's no such course, but it's in my head where I say how to be black in a foreign country. It's basically where you learn the skills of surviving. Every job will challenge you. You need to know how to survive. Number one. Number two, when you're interacting with patients, be aware of yourself. How does my big voice and my big frame and my big big frame and my being black affects the mother who walks with the patient through the door? So keep in mind, they may be seeing the black person for the first time, and the child may be seeing the black person for the first time. So when the child says, "Oh, mommy, he looks chocolate," they're not insulting you.
You are chocolate.
You are chocolate. And so don't throw a big tantrum about it. I think I always tell myself I've got thick skin because I come from a place where racism was proper racism. Well, I don't mean that subtle racism is acceptable. But what I'm trying to say to you is, listen, guys, we've gone through racism where you're called names, where you're called Kefa or you're called something else. That was hardcore racism. When you come here, racism is very subtle. It's very subtle. People will say, "I don't mean to offend you, Lovemore, but where do you come from?" So that question means I'm going to offend you. I want to know where you're coming from. So you need to know the words, the phrases, how they're used. Every culture has words which people use, which they don't mean what sounds on the surface, and you begin to pick the subtleties. Okay. So to answer your question, I have learned from others how to get jobs, how to maintain a certain sense of brilliance at your job. You shouldn't. Mediocrity has no place for a black person abroad. We don't come here with the aunties and uncles in a manager's job somewhere where they'll give you a job. We need to be at our game, at our best. Mediocrity, guys. Just as soon as you land at California airport, where is it called?
LAX.
LAX. Please just make sure, just say to yourself, I'm Joseph. I'm royal blood. I'm going to be landing at University of Babylon. I don't eat their stuff, but if they enroll me at the University of Babylon, I'll be 10 times better. By God's grace, he equipped those 3 boys at a foreign university. And when they finished their degrees, the Bible says they were 10 times better. I've learned to depend on God to be 10 times better. Because you can have this, you can have this shungu in you, but still be poor. But with God's arm around you, he will move you to the top. So slowly I'm learning and being humble, knowing I'm not with my uncle in Zimbabwe who is president. I'm here, so I'm not going to be arrogant. I'm going to be humble, and just be humble, and when you're humble, people who actually God's grace will raise you up. So I'm learning humility, but making sure you do your job very well, faithfully. The Daniels in Nebuchadnezzar's parliament will always show up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. He who has an ear, let him hear. Profound words. All right, so let's go to our next perhaps question or thought, and I'm going to invite Pastor Lakson Dube.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Nganunu. Quite a fascinating story. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase my question. It's going to be kind of convoluted. Zimbabwe did a lot to give us the tools to be able to be where we are right now. It's unfortunate that we cannot give back to Zimbabwe due to the current, conditions there. I know most of us, when we came here or when we left Zimbabwe, we were thinking of, going back at some time. But with the moving of time, we're getting old, we're asking ourselves, is it really worth it? Do you see yourself at one time going back to contribute to Zimbabwe? I'm aware it's difficult to predict how things are going to be next year in Zimbabwe. The political situation is very fluid. But do you have that desire to maybe contribute something to our fellow people in Zimbabwe?
Yes, Pastor Dube, I'm very passionate about Zimbabwe, but I need to express my dilemma. Sometimes we hear you're trying to achieve what is achievable here. At the same time, you got this nostalgia of wanting to go home. And we use the word, when I came here, I used to use the word back home, back home every now and then you say back home. And then after 10 years, that phrase disappears. And then you don't know where you are. And I don't think I'm the only one, but basically, in short, when I had achieved what I thought I would achieved here, I wanted to go to Zim with a project for a women and children's hospital. So we put together a project, a women and children's hospital, and we engaged with the Zimbabwe Union Conference, East Zimbabwe Conference, as well as the Bulawayo Conference. So when I came to Loma Linda in 2018, my aim was to pitch the project, which Paul Gavaza actually did a wonderful job. Prof Paul, I hope he's here today. I don't know whether he's here.
I don't think he's on the line today.
Okay, so really, Prof did a good work, because I think I remember sharing this with my big brother Elisha Mvundura, Dr. Mvundura, and the whole idea was to try to get Loma Linda and their expert teams, as well as get funding to create a women and children's hospital. And I don't think we've given up, Pastor Dube. As I'm speaking to you, I know Brighton is here, Elder Brighton. We are just part of the Zimbabwe Western, conference in Bulawayo. They are trying to put together a team. They're putting together a team that wants to work towards building a hospital, and we're passionate about it. And I believe one day we will get a hospital, a wellness center, and it could be a place where we could rotate ourselves, going in for 2 months, work, and then come back, going in for a month, work and come back. So our project was designed to attract people across the globe who come and give us just a week, 2 months, book people, patients we need neurosurgical operations. I spoke to a neurosurgeon in Sheffield. I can't mention his name, but he was willing to come and just do operations on children and then come home. So the whole idea was to set up a service where we can use skills in different parts of the world and run it as Adventist. I don't think it's unachievable. Finally, I want to retire and go to live at my plot in Zimbabwe, wake up in the morning, see my goats and my cattle and walk around my vegetables, irrigate something. I don't want to go to a nursing home. I don't want a nursing home. I don't want you guys visiting me in a nursing home. I want to be in Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad you touched on that. I was going to raise points about, retirement and moving back. So thank you for addressing that. Now, we are left with about 6 minutes, and I want us to do a quick series of questions now where we get just short questions and short answers. And maybe to open up for our elders, I want to ask, which soccer team do you support?
Liverpool.
You might step on some toes, yeah.
I support Liverpool, the great team.
Did you say Loserpool? Just a light moment.
What I heard.
So, have you actually ever gone to any soccer game? We always see it. We are very far. We always see it from the TV. How is the feeling? Because it looks like it's a religious worship service. People are
it is. I haven't been to one live. I've simply gone into their stadium when they're empty as a tour. But I haven't been to those live ones. I just watch on TV myself.
Okay.
So yes, I'm a Liverpool supporter. I used to be Arsenal supporter, but they started losing, and I realized, you know what, go back to my old team. So I left Arsenal because Arsenal always keeps you in accent and emergency with a near win, and then they don't win. So you're always on an ECG monitor in A&E.
That is a good one. What do you do to relax, right? So busy day at work, maybe time with family, but what do you do in your own man cave? What relaxes you?
I tend to go for swimming, and then we go for walks with my wife. So we drive to the park. My wife loves walking. She walks 10 kilometers a day. She's the health person driving our family. She wouldn't give my son bus fare. She would say, walk to school and then walk back. And that way my son has remained fit. So she's working on me now, reducing portions and so on. Yeah, thanks.
That's the toughest project he has.
That is funny. Speaking of funny, what is the funniest thing that has happened to you lately that you're like, oh, that was interesting?
I guess, the WhatsApp jokes, I'm trying to remember which one. There's always a lot of stuff coming through WhatsApp, and you kind of laugh your lung out. A lot of people, they just make fun out of serious situations. So I can't remember any of the jokes, but WhatsApp, the universe of WhatsApp is many, many jokes.
That is good. And lastly, I wanted to mention, to thank you rather for your initiatives of, supporting back home. You mentioned the Loma Linda project. There's many others that one that I know that I knew before I actually knew you is the reunion concert with Heralds in Zimbabwe. Maybe not a lot of people know that, but you helped sponsor that and, hired the Sheraton Hotel, and it was such a great reunion.
Wow.
I was still in South Africa then, and, we had a lot of people come from South Africa for that concert. And I worshiped with most of the guys you sing with there. Dubes, Ntini, Marigere, and so forth. So, I want to say thank you for your service. And even to all the elders on the line, to the small simple things that we seemingly think, this is a pet project, you know, people realize that, we see that, and also encourages us, you know, some of us who are still a little bit younger, right? That, oh, okay, so it's important to take part in the community. Oh, okay, these small things make this big difference. So to you and to all the elders, we want to say thank you for that. Now, I want to open up for any closing remarks from you in not more than 2 minutes.
On behalf of my family, I want to thank you for this invitation. For some reason, I had not connected that I'm coming to the same group of men that I have actually spoken to before. And so on behalf of my family, I want to thank Walton and thank you in America and Canada for inviting me again. I'm just excited. My greatest motivation, gentlemen, I'm reading and studying the book of Revelation. And I must say, Stephen Bohr, Dr. Zebron Nue, and many other authors have really motivated me, and it's my passion to preach the book of Revelation, and it will continually be the prophecy that brought me from the Methodist Church to the Seventh-day Adventist Church in 1990. I want to credit God for using Elisha Mvundura, Dr. And his friends, because they were influential in bringing me to the church. I was coming from the pub one midnight, and I got a knock at midnight. And these senior medical students were saying to me, oh, could you come to church? At midnight, they were inviting me to church. And we were coming from the pubs. I won't forget that day, and I've never forgotten. So thank you very much for those who have been really influential in the journey of my life as a Christian. I am truly grateful. So to you and everybody else, Gilbert, thank you so much for having me on this program. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Elder. I am going to go ahead and pause the recording